Hi guys, welcome to a new reading vlog, and this one actually has been a long time coming because I have been collecting and keeping these books, and I was like, when they get to the fourth book I might do a reading vlog and let you guys know what I thought of them. Some time ago I did one of my favorite reading vlogs in which I read the Monster Street books, and I had so much fun doing that. And even though I don't read as much middle grade horror as I used to before, these books really caught my attention when they were announced as a new book series for middle grade readers, and I love the covers, I love the concept, so I'm here to read them and let you guys know what I thought of them. Obviously, as implied in the thumbnail and the title, I'm talking about the Shiver Point books. And obviously you had Shiver books and you had Point horror books, so it's like a mix between those, and it's supposed to be similar to Goosebumps. So books that have horror, but they are for young readers. They are all by Gabrielle Dillon, and 4 books have been published this far. The 4th one was just published in 2025, so I was waiting for that publication in order to make this video, and now I have the 4 of them. I don't know exactly yet what the plot is for every single book, but you can gather the theme by the name and the covers. So I am gonna quickly show you the books, and then as I start reading them I will let you know the plot before I sit down and start reading each single book, so I don't make this introduction way too long. So the first book is called It Came from the Woods, which obviously implies that we are talking here about aliens and UFOs. So this is going to be intriguing because a lot of the creepy middle grade books, I feel like a lot of them are paranormal and with ghosts. So I'm really excited to read one that it is about aliens. Or is it though? Because what is this thing that showed up in the sky? Next we have obviously a werewolf story. I mean, I think it's obvious, and it's called Under a Howling Moon, and I see a tent here, so I'm guessing kids go camping. So that's what I can gather, and I love these covers so much. They're so pretty, just look at them. So the third one is probably gonna be one of my favorites, but maybe I'm jinxing it simply because it has a scarecrow. I have a soft spot for scarecrows. I love them. And this one is called A Tap at the Window. I'm really excited for this one, to be honest. And the last one that was published is this beautiful book here called Beneath the Ghostly Graves. So this one does take place at a cemetery, and it does seem to be a paranormal story. So like I said, I love the design, I love the titles, I love everything about it. So hopefully I will love the books too.
It's coffee time!
Welcome to day 1 of the Shiver Point reading vlog. I'm very excited. It has been some time since I last read a middle grade book, so I am excited to discover these stories, and my hope is of course that these are gonna be extra creepy and maybe even a little bit disturbing, because being a middle grade book doesn't mean that you cannot be those things. Now I'm back from Spain, so this is my first vlog that I do being back from Spain, but I have news for you. I have to return to Spain again for 2 more weeks. I think it's going to be the last 2 weeks of March, so I am also now currently working on trying to leave videos up for that period of time, which means a lot more work. But I always hate to leave my channel without any videos at all when I go somewhere, so I'm gonna try my best. But anyways, we're here today to talk about the Shiver Point books. So I am ready today to read book number 1. I realized also that I had them in the wrong order the other day, so the right order is It Came from the Woods, the second one is A Tap at the Window, the third one Under a Howling Moon, and the fourth one Beneath the Ghostly Graves. I basically had switched up book 2 and 3, so I just wanted to correct that. And I also have a bone to pick with the publisher because I am kind of mad and disappointed at the way that they did the spines. Now, for the majority of the spines, they fit, so it's not as dramatic maybe as I am making it sound. But the bottom, you guys, let me show it to you. So we're good, you know, we're good, everything is good, and then we get here and it's like, what is this? Why? I don't understand. Like, this is annoying to me. I know this is just a minor issue, but I am someone that really cares about spines in series being exactly the same. So that annoys me a little bit. We're going to be reading the first book today, which is It Came from the Woods. So all of these books are based on a town called Shiver Point, where the majority of the year nothing exciting happens, except one night where Alex sees something falling from the sky, and it is a meteorite, and he realizes that after that night a lot of strange things are starting to happen in this town. There are slimy black footprints all over town. So he wants to figure out who or what is roaming the streets of his town. So together with a group of friends, they're trying to figure out this mystery. So similar to the Fear Street books, all of these books are going to be based on the same town. On the back it says, "What's inside? Spooks, scares, and screams." I think I should be able to read these books quickly because each book is around 200 pages. So I think I'm going to start it, see how far I get. Then I would like to go for a 1-hour walk, and then I will finish the book if I have not finished, and that would be my day today when it comes to reading. So my goal for today is quite simple. It's just to read this book, which is around 200 pages, so it should be doable.
I guess you're back. Are you gonna tell me where you went? All the messages I sent with no reply. It's like that. You're just gonna walk into my room. I hate how you assume I'll take the pleasure and the pain, the sorrows in your brain, 'cause I know you're on the run. I'll take the pleasure and the pain, your secrets to my grave.
Let's talk about the story. So we are in Shiver Point, a town that Alex has been forced to move to by his mom, and he's not happy about it. He says this town is very old school. He basically says this town is for the generations before Netflix and YouTube, which that's harsh. So he is looking for any way that he can get out of there. And one day there is a meteor that falls, and he sees that. And he remembers in school, he learned that the pieces, you know, from this rock are very valuable. And he thinks, if I go and I grab a piece, I can sell it, get money, and then I can get out of here. He's also a little bit sad because since they moved, he has not been able to see his mom much. She works a lot of different shifts at the hospital, so they barely see each other, and he is just looking for a way out basically because he's not very happy with his life at the moment. And the meteor actually fell in the middle of some woods, and it is the middle of the night, so he is scared, but he is determined to find the pieces of the rock before everybody else so that he can grab a piece and resell it. However, when he gets to the spot where the meteor fell, there's other people there, other students from Point Academy. They are all staring at it, deciding what to do, if they should touch it or not, when they hear a scream and they start to get scared that there is going to be something with them in those woods. And even though at the beginning when I saw the title and I saw this green light, I thought maybe it was a UFO, I think it's not. I think this book is just about something that fell from the sky, that is probably a creature from another planet, or who knows, or maybe that meteor had some evil attached to it. So I think it's going to be more about that and not exactly about aliens, which is a little bit sad because I was hoping for aliens because it's something that I don't read so much about. But nevertheless, I'm enjoying it so far. Another one of the kids that we follow is Mo, and Mo is your typical nerd that people always pick on. Basically, he's a little bit bullied at school, and he has always loved the stars and the cosmos and to learn about it. So he has a telescope, and he was really excited when he saw the meteor fall, but then he realized that there was something very scary and wrong with it. So now he's kind of scared of the, you know, of the skies, something that fascinated him, and now he's scared by it. And we also follow Sophia. So she is walking by the street and she sees a very weird, mysterious looking black slug, and she realizes that that slug and that black puddle reminds her of what she saw that night in the woods as well. So everybody is still very shocked and thinking about what happened in the woods, but they're also not really talking to each other. So far we have Mo, we have Sophia, and we have Alex. The next kid we get introduced is Ollie, who is probably going to be my favorite because he is a horror fan. And he knows that he's probably too young to watch horror movies, but he steals horror movies from his older sister, and he has seen a lot of horror movies, and he's the one that is starting to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together. He realizes that since the events in the woods, since the meteor fell down, things have been weird. There are black splotches on the streets, the internet and the telephones have been patchy, they have not been working properly, and now the grocery store had a break-in. And apparently whatever or whoever broke in stole all the cat food. Like, who would do that? And also he says that since that night there has been some sort of odor, some scent coming out of the woods that now is spread all over town, and it's not like a pleasant smell. And the fifth and final kid that is a main character in this book is a girl called Riley. So her situation is a little bit complicated. She lives in a house by the cemetery, and she also has no mom or dad, so she doesn't like all of these questions from the other kids about her situation, and she is very excited to go to class. She likes computers, and she has a computer class. However, when she gets there, the window from the class has been smashed, so there has been a break-in, same as with the supermarket. So it's going to come to a point where the 5 kids are going to realize together that whatever they saw, whatever happened that night when the meteor fell, has affected the town. So they're gonna have to figure out what escaped this meteor, what did this meteor bring to this place. So that is the mystery at hand. I really like how, you know, the author introduced the characters. Like at the beginning we see them all in the woods to experience this event that's gonna change their lives, and then we meet them, you know, a chapter at a time. So there are 5 chapters with 5 different characters, just to briefly let us know who they are and a little bit of their personality. You know, you can peek into their personality, and I think that's a great way of introducing characters quick, but in a way that especially young readers are going to be able to tell them apart very easily. And as I suspected, they are now having a meeting because they all want to figure out what's going on in town, and they're talking about all of the weird things that have been happening. And apart from that, apparently the council has called a meeting in town, and I like that that was brought up because it means that the adults in this book are actually paying attention to the things that are going on in town, and they're not completely missing from the story. So we know the adults are aware, the mayor is aware that things are weird and the break-ins and the things are weird, so they're also going to have a town meeting to discuss all of this. So I appreciated that because in a lot of middle grade books the parents are either completely missing or the adults are completely missing, and even if they are present, sometimes they are completely ignorant to what's going on around them. So I like that they are aware that things are going on, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the kids that are going to be the ones to rescue the town. So I've made it to page 100 of, I think, 210. So I'm almost halfway through and I'm gonna take a little break. So I am now at page 100 of I think 210, so I am more or less in the middle of it, and I don't want to talk too much more about the plot because I feel like it's better if you discover it for yourselves. But I will tell you that the kids are trying to figure out who is responsible for this black footprint and black splotches, and they are also starting to see other things and they're getting suspicious. Now they don't know if this meteor brought back with it a monster or an alien. So aliens are not out of the question yet. We still have hope that it might be an alien. So I'm really enjoying this book. I think it has a great pacing. The kids are great characters, very different from each other. You know, the typical group of kids that would have never become friends if it wasn't because they had this common experience that has traumatized them, and now they have no other choice but to work together to figure it out. So I love that for them. It's kind of like a found family in a way. So I really enjoy it, and there is mentions of horror tropes like, you know, not splitting up and all of those things, but there's also some mentions to technology, and it's making me feel old because they talk about older phones like super antique stuff. And I'm like, guys. So it's aging me. This book is making me feel very old, so that would be a criticism. Anyway, I'm gonna take a break now. I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm gonna have lunch, and I'm gonna finish this book later. Good morning, guys. I'm here with my books because I have good news. I finished the first book last night, so we're ready to start book 2. Before we do that, let me give you some of my last thoughts on book 1. Obviously, I don't want to spoil the plot for you, so I will tell you that it did get quite dark and quite disturbing. I think it's quite scary for middle grade readers, and I think it's the right level for me to read as an adult and still enjoy it and have some nice thrills. I really like the group of friends. They have decided to call themselves the Shiver Squad, and as it seems, they are going to be reappearing in every book. So I think it's the same 5 group of friends in the same town, but they just investigate different things. So I love that idea as well, that we have our 5 main characters that we got to know here, because honestly, I really like them, and my favorite is still Ollie. And I also like the variety of kids because they come from very different backgrounds. We have a kid that lives with his single mom that just moved there, so it's new in town. We have Riley, who lost her parents and lives with her grandpa. So there is like a difference also when it comes to the type of families. The other girl mentioned, Sophia, that she has 2 moms. So there's a lot of like different backgrounds and different families here, and I like that representation. One thing that did bother me though, it didn't bother me at the beginning, but there was a joke made against vegans at the beginning, and I was like, whatever. But then the author did it again, and I'm like, every 100 pages you're gonna come against me? You're gonna come at me? So I didn't appreciate that so much, because honestly it had no purpose for the plot or anything. It was just like, just came randomly. Not like I was offended or anything, but I'm like, damn, you're burning me twice in the same book. Like, can we please stop? So I'm hoping those jokes are not going to be in the other books, but we will see. But jokes aside, this was so fun, quick read, great pacing, It had great characters, the mystery was good, it had a couple of twists and turns, and I really enjoyed the ending as well. And we have these 5 characters that are very different from each other, but they end up finding their own small family and they become the Shiver Squad. So I'm excited now to start book 2 today. Book 2 is this one here. It's called A Tap at the Window, and it's the one that I was the most excited about because it is about a scarecrow and I love them. So Riley one day notices a scarecrow in the fields next to her house and she doesn't think too much about it, but then one night during a big storm, she hears a tap at the window. And the book also has a map like the first one, so we have like the full town here, so you can take a look and see where our main characters are, where things are happening. And I mean, so far I loved book 1, so I'm hoping to really enjoy this one, and I'm hoping the main kind of creepy thing of this book is the scarecrow, but we will have to see. Before I can sit down and read my book, I actually have to go for a little walk and get some groceries, and then I'll be able to sit down and start reading the book. So let's go for a walk and let's go grab a couple of groceries. Well, let's talk a little bit about this book. So I've started it already and I made it to page 50, so I wanted to give you my first thoughts on the book. So we follow Riley, and one night through her window she sees Bethany, who is the mean girl at school, the bully, go into a farm that is a little bit abandoned together with some of her friends. And she knows that they are up to no good, but she doesn't know exactly what they're going to the farm. They leave the farm. They seem to be dirty after they leave the farm. She has no idea why this is happening, but she forgets about it, moves on with her life. However, another night, she realizes that she sees another person through her window. It's very dark, but she notices it's kind of like a human silhouette, but with weird proportions, and she realizes, it is a scarecrow. But that wasn't there the other night, so where did it come from? And, keeps moving on with her life. So basically Riley is experiencing all of these weird things, but she keeps going. So most of the story, this one in particular, is told from Riley's perspective, and we get to see her also hanging out with her grandpa more. I feel like in the first book we saw more the relationship between Alex and his mom. And in this one, we're seeing more the relationship between Riley and her grandpa, who is taking care of her after she lost both of her parents. Now the kids are bored and they're looking for the next mystery to solve in this town, and they see police cars in front of a building. That building is the Shivering Post, and the kids want to investigate, see why the police is there. So they're kind of like trying to look for the next mystery. And you know, based on the cover and what I read in the synopsis, I'm guessing it's related to the farm and the scarecrow, and everything probably has an explanation. I still don't know what's the scary element here, but I guess we will find out very soon. So I'm gonna keep on reading. I'm gonna try to get to at least half of it, and then I have to take a break because I still have a lot of work to do today. So our kids get in trouble and they are sent to detention. And don't you think that I didn't notice that the author called the teacher that is holding them in detention Mr. Kruger? I know what you did there. I know what you did there. And the lights go out when they are in detention, and that's when the action starts to kick in and where the horror is slowly coming. So I'm really excited. The kids are not so excited because they are trying to figure out what happened. Mr. Kruger disappeared, the lights went out, and there was something or someone in the school building with them. So this one is starting creepy and I'm really enjoying it. This book also has some mixed media. It has some news articles from the local newspaper, but it also has text messages because they have like a WhatsApp group, the 5 kids. And I think it's so interesting because I think it's the first time I have seen text messages, like WhatsApp messages, on a middle grade book, which, you know, times are changing because the kids here are 12-year-old. The other day I was walking, I was having my 1-hour walk, and I saw these 4 kids. They were very young, they were maybe 9 years old or so, and they were calling someone and talking to them through their watch. And I was like, what kind of Black Mirror universe am I living in? Like when I was a kid, I had to go to one of those telephone cabin things and put coins in it to call someone. Like, it's wild. And now that I have aged myself again, as I normally do, let's keep reading. I've made it now officially halfway through the book. I am on page 112, and the kids are about to enter a basement. So the main story here seems to be that back in the 90s, in 1999, there was a series of break-ins in the town, and the things breaking in were teenagers dressed up as scarecrows. So now our Super 5 kids are trying to figure out if it is the same thing happening again, or if these scarecrows, or scarecrow, if it's just one, it's something supernatural, because obviously the regular scarecrows don't tend to come to life and go around in town with weapons and breaking and entering in buildings. Normally they don't do that. So they're trying to figure out where all of these comes from and why are they, you know, breaking and entering. So they're investigating farms and they're investigating everything related to the scarecrows. So now it's time to go back to work, but I did take 1 hour break to read my book. So in 1 hour I made it 112 pages in, so it is very easy to read, and I'm hoping that before I go to bed tonight I can finish this book so we have another one down. Good morning, welcome to the next day, and I have good news for you. I have finished the second book. So currently I'm getting ready to record 2 videos that I have to record today, which is an Abominable box unboxing and my February wrap up, and I'm trying my best to film everything if I can this week so I can edit everything that's missing next week before I go to Spain again, so that I leave some content up in the channel. But before I sit down and start recording, I wanted to tell you about the second book. So in the book, as I mentioned, we focus a little bit more on Riley and her relationship with her granddad, and I think that was one of my favorite parts of the book, to learn about their relationship and to see that, you know, a kid growing up with a grandparent is a very different way of growing up than other kids, and I think it's going to be great representation for kids that are in the same situation. Now, the story of the scarecrows is great. The background story of it and all the investigation was one of my favorite parts. I loved learning about the scarecrows and where they came from and the reason why they're doing this. So that was my favorite bit. And I think this book is also very creepy. It is unsettling. It has a lot of good moments, a couple of twists and turns to the story. So far, these series for middle grade readers has been actually a great find. I think I'm definitely going to keep buying them and reading them because these are a great, like, fun, quick read. Today I'm really busy because I have to record 2 videos. I have to still work a lot of hours today. Normally I do overtime because I have 2 jobs plus YouTube. So I don't know if I'm gonna be able to start the 3rd book today, but I'm gonna try my best. It is called Under a Howling Moon, and obviously I'm assuming this is something related to werewolves. And I think this one is going to be based on Ollie, who is one of my favorite characters. So Ollie is really excited to celebrate his birthday because he's going to go camping with his friends. But then while they're camping, he hears a noise. Somebody, I think, rips his tent, and they know they're in danger. And apart from somebody or something slashing their tent, when they wake up the next morning, Ollie's dad is missing. So the Shiver Squad has another mystery to solve, and I'm really excited for this one because Ollie, like I said, is one of my favorites, and I want to learn more about him and his family and the relationship with his dad. Maybe that explains a little bit his sense of humor or why he is the way he is. And I also am in a kind of a kick for werewolves after reading Such Sharp Teeth by Rachel Harrison. So I'm excited for this one. If I don't get to start it today, the weekend is approaching, so I should have more time then to catch up with these books.
These roads intersect, on each one I reflect. These lines write my story. These places change me, each one replacing. Like night into morning, I miss the open air, the going anywhere, riding with you like we used to. Guess I'm better off alone, never know when I'll get home, but I know that home's where the heart is.
Welcome to the next sitting down coffee time to talk about these beautiful books. I actually started reading book 3, as you saw outside, because it was a very sunny day and I wanted to make use of all of that sun and vitamin D, because in this country you cannot take it for granted. It can change from one day to the next. One day is spring and the next day you go back to fall. So I wanted to make use of the good weather and I sat outside a little bit. And also the neighborhood cats always come to the garden. There are several cats that are almost every day in the garden. They always come for food and cuddles, and it's perfect because I have 4 cats inside, but I have plenty of cats also that come to the garden to chill with me when I'm outside. So let's discuss book 3, which is Under a Howling Moon. So this one does follow Ollie. It's his birthday and he has everything planned for his birthday. He's gonna go on a camping trip during the weekend with his dad and the Shiver Squad. He's really looking forward to it, and the night before he wants to kind of prank his friends to scare them a little bit, and he decides to tell them a scary story. He tells them the story of the slaughtered scouts because it's a story that takes place in the woods where they're going to go camping. So he's hoping kind of to scare them and prank them before the weekend. So Ollie's dad is the only adult that is going with them, and he's taking them, staying with them, making sure that they are fine. Originally, the dad wanted to camp in a part in the woods that is a little bit more isolated, but they ended up staying at a campsite because it's a little bit more secure. Ollie's dad is a car mechanic, so we're learning a little bit more about his dad, which is what I was expecting from this book, because like I've mentioned, it seems that every book is going to follow a different kid, and then we get to know a little bit more about them and about their parents. So they get to the campsite and they are ready to have the best time ever. They even have horror movies, and Riley, that is very tech savvy, has created some sort of like beamer so that they can actually watch the movies in the campsite. So they're all very excited. However, the very first night there, Ollie hears something in the middle of the night that actually ends up scaring him, you know, the king of horror movies. And there is a rip on his tent. He freaks out, he tells the other kids, but they don't believe him because they think he's pranking them again. You know, that's what happens when you start pranking people and telling them fake stories. If you cry wolf too much at some point when something is actually true, nobody's gonna believe you or help you. The next morning, Ollie's dad is gone. His tent is empty. And the kids are like, hold on, what happened? Did he go back to the car to grab something? What's going on? So they see some footsteps that lead to the woods and they decide to investigate and see if they can find Ollie's dad. They end up finding him, but he's kind of in a very dirty state. They don't know what happened to him. He has a little bit of memory loss of that night, but they return to the camp. They have dinner together and everything seems to be fine until it isn't. So there's not too much more I can tell you about the plot because I have made it now to halfway through and I'm on page 106. So I guess the rest of the book is going to be something that I have to keep kind of like a secret for you guys. But I can tell you that I'm really enjoying these books, and in every single book, the kid that was kind of like the main character in the story always had to save the parents, the granddad in that case, you know, the legal guardian, whoever it is taking care of them. So it's very interesting that specifically they are, yes, fighting some sort of evil, some sort of mystery, something creepy, but in the end they are really, really driven to save everybody because their own parents slash legal guardians are in danger. So they really, really love their parents in this book, and that's something nice to see because sometimes in books, you know, the relationship between the kids and the parents is a little bit off, or maybe they hate their parents because of something that they did or they said, or they're being a little bit more bratty, you know what I mean? So I like that here actually the kids appreciate the relationship with their parents. Today is again a busy day for me, but I plan to finish the book today and give you my final thoughts on book 3. I think when I read the 4, I will give you a ranking on which one is my favorite, but I have to tell you that so far I have enjoyed all 3, so I'm hoping this one also has a great ending and I can really see myself continuing this series. Hi guys, I have good news for you. The good news is that I have finished the 3rd book in the series, but I also have bad news, which is the weather has taken a turn. We were enjoying some sun, some vitamin D in the Netherlands, and today all of a sudden it's winter again. So here we are with a sweater and ready to relax and to read a little bit here in the living room. I wanted to make use of the sun, but today there is 0 sun. However, I do feel like this weather is perfect for the 4th book that we're gonna start today. But before we do, let me give you my last thoughts on book 3. Let's discuss the ending of this book. So actually, this book was quite surprising because even though, yes, we do have a lot of the tropes from the werewolf stories, I feel like the author was trying to do something a little bit new with it, and I really appreciated it, and it really elevated that mystery element to it because, yes, you knew that you had kind of like a werewolf story in your hands, but at the same time it was a little bit different, so you were still intrigued to see what was going to happen next. Unfortunately, you don't really get to see much of the relationship between Ollie and his dad because his dad disappears fairly quickly into the story. He's like gone, and then the kids are left alone to solve the mystery together with other people from the campsite that are trying to figure out what's happening there. And I really enjoyed it because even though, yes, we have seen many books for kids about camping and werewolves, I still feel like this one had a very unique touch to it, and it might be also the writing style from the author that is also very good at showing and not telling too much, even though it's a kid's books. And I feel like in kids books there's a lot of telling and not just showing, because it makes sense. You know, you want to make clear that the kids can follow up and be engaged in the story. But at the same time, I think it's also good to make them think a lot about what's going on. So I really enjoyed it, and I feel like for people that love werewolves and don't like to read really intense horror for adults where, you know, the transformation from human to werewolf is very painful and gory and all of that, and you want something a little bit more light in that regard, you know, on the gore side and on the blood, I would definitely recommend this one. And like I said, even though for the majority of the book we do touch all of those tropes for werewolf stories, I still feel like this book had some sort of uniqueness to it. And I think that has been also kind of like the common thread between the 3 books that I have read so far. They were targeting things that we've seen done before. We've seen scary scarecrows, we've seen things falling from the sky that are dangerous and evil and from alien planets, and we've seen werewolves before. But the way the author kind of confronts these topics and brings them to the page, he gives them kind of like his own unique twist, and I'm really enjoying that. Plus, I think the Shiver Squad and having these kids working together is something that I also really love from book 1 already, and I'm just ready for book 4. So book 4 is called Beneath the Ghostly Graves, and it looks like it's going to take place at a cemetery. And this one, it follows Mo, who is kind of like the nerd, the shy guy of the group. Mo is a scaredy cat, but so far he has been helping the Shiver Squad to solve all of the other mysteries. And this time around, the story is going to be a little bit more centered on him. So there is a vengeful spirit, a vengeful ghost called Blue Bessie that is supposed to be hunting the cemetery in this town. And Mo wants to be brave and wants to show his brother that he's strong and he's brave and wants to go and face this ghost. But Mo is actually gonna be really put to the test this time around because his little brother has been taken by this mystery spirit to the crypts under the cemetery. That's all I know, and that gives me already a lot. So I'm thinking that Mo is gonna have to alert the Shiver Squad and be like, hey, my brother has been taken by something evil, some supernatural entity or something, and the Shiver Squad is gonna have to come together to help Mo. And it's fun because instead of Mo's parents being in danger or the legal guardian, because so far we've had Alex's mom in danger, we've had Riley's grandpa in danger, we've had Ollie's father in danger, so now we have a brother, so it's a little bit of a change. So I am excited to see how this one is gonna go. So I'm gonna put some reading cozy music on the TV, one with the raining, I think, because it is raining outside. It has been raining today, and I think it's going to really give me that atmosphere, that mood for this book, and I'm just gonna relax and read and see how far I get today.
These roads intersect, on each one I reflect. These lines write my story. These places change me, each one replacing. Like night into morning, I miss the open air, the going anywhere, riding with you like we used to. Guess I'm better off alone, never know when I'll get home, but I know that home's where the heart is. Guess I'm better off this way, moving to better days, but I know that home's where the heart is.
later in the day, but I have made it halfway through the book, and honestly, I'm really enjoying this one. It already starts action-packed, and I feel that because this book starts already in a cemetery, it's just so unsettling. There is something about a cemetery, walking through it, knowing that there are bodies buried underground, and all of these tombs have like different stories, and there's different people from different, you know, years and centuries sometimes. It's just so creepy and atmospheric. In the town of Shiver Point, there is a myth. I mean, every town has them, right? Especially stories that children tell to other children to scare them, or adults to their own kids to scare them, make them behave. And in this town, we have the myth of Blue Bessie. And that is a spirit that is rumored to be haunting the cemetery in town. And similar to Bloody Mary and Candyman, you can summon her. There is some sort of ritual, you have to say her name, you know, and then you can summon her. So somebody uses this to summon her, but they think it's all fun and games, they think it's just a myth, they think it's not gonna happen. Like it always starts in this kind of stories, right? But then Mo realizes that his brother is missing, and he fears that Blue Bessie has taken him to the cemetery with her to play a game with her. And rumor has it, Blue Bessie does not play fair. So of course Mo calls and runs to his besties, to the Shiver squad, and they were all having a sleepover at the treehouse, so he runs to them, tells them what happened, and begs them to, you know, help him go to the cemetery, try to find his little brother. I really like that Mo is a scaredy cat. He's shy, he's scared of everything, even though he has seen a lot, so much that he is ready to believe that ghosts exist because of everything he has seen in Shiver Point by now. And it's funny because he's the older brother, he's supposed to be the protective one, but he's a scaredy cat. However, when he has conversations here with his brother, he's trying to be brave and strong for the brother, and that is just so endearing to me. I thought that was so adorable. So I really like Mo and his little brother. There's other characters that keep coming back to the books. One of them is Bethany, who is the school bully, so we don't like her. And then there is a woman that helps them, that works at the library at school and helps them with books to investigate whatever mystery they're dealing with in every book. So I thought that was also a lot of fun, because obviously we're book nerds and we love books about things and to read them to understand what's going on. So in this story, they are trying to find out more about ghosts and of course how to stop them. I left my Shiver squad at the cemetery, scared for their lives, and the spirits want to play a game with them. So that's where I left them, and I'm gonna have to get back to them later because I have to go back to work for a couple hours. But I'm hoping to finish this tonight so that I can give you my final thoughts on this one and then rank the 4 books for you. But so far this one is very promising because, like I said from the very beginning, this is giving kind of Bloody Mary, myth, legend, but with cemetery and ghosts kind of story, and I'm really digging that combination. I stayed up to finish my book and I have finished book 4 on the series, so I have completed all 4 books, and let me tell you that this book is probably my favorite of the 4 because from beginning to end it was perfection. It was action-packed from beginning to end. There is so much heart in this book. There are so many good messages in this book. I love all the characters, including Blue Bessie, the ghost that we get to meet in this book. It was fantastic to get to meet her. You know, evil spirits do evil things, but sometimes there is a reason why. Similar to the other books, the author took the subgenre of horror, the paranormal subgenre of it, and it kind of gave it a little spin and it made it a lot more fun. We have a group of kids investigating in the crypt of the cemetery, and they have to play some games and solve some riddles so that they are able to rescue Mo's brother, and it was just fantastic. Like, this has been perfection. If I would have to recommend a middle grade book for somebody that wants to read more creepy books or somebody that has kids, this would be my favorite. It's probably also my favorite middle grade book that has a ghost in it, because I feel A lot of times middle grade books that have ghosts are very mild. They always kind of have the same baseline. They always have the same ups and downs, you know, the same pacing, the same reveals, and I feel like this one did it a little bit differently, and like I said, it added other elements to the story that were very, very fun and entertaining, but also creepy. Of course, we are in the crypts and a lot of creepy things happen, and the kids see a lot of creepy things that get them really unsettled, so it's not just fun and games, which in a way it is. At some point it felt like they were trapped in the crypt, almost like an escape room kind of vibe. So I think this author is taking all of these tropes and all of these subgenres of horror, and it's giving them a more modern spin for new middle grade readers. And just like that, you guys, we have finished the 4 books, and I am so glad that I read these books because now I am 100% sure that I want to continue with the series. I had just been collecting them because I wanted to read them together, and I'm really glad that I did because I also got to really immerse myself in this town, in the characters, and really got to know each other because these books have been published, I think, almost a year apart from each other, each of them. So I got the full experience, you know, to really immerse myself in the characters and the world and just read all 4 of them. It was really hard to kind of rank these books because depending on what you like more as a subgenre of horror, what works more for you, you might enjoy one more than the other. But for me, here is my ranking. In first position, obviously, we have Beneath the Ghostly Graves. Like I said, this was for me perfection from beginning to end. One that I would love to reread maybe for Halloween or when winter comes around. It's a great, great book with good messages, you know, of family and friendship and kindness and how much kindness means to others. So love this one. In second position, we have A Tap at the Window, and this is the book about the creepy scarecrows. And apart from that visual, which I love, also I love the backstory of the scarecrows and how they came to be and all of that, and I thought it was very creepy. So this is the second one on my ranking. Number 3 is actually the first book, which is It Came from the Woods. And I put this one on my third position because I think this one was really, really creepy, and it really did remind me of those weird episodes from Goosebumps and all of that. Also, this one introduces all the kids, and I thought it was done really, really well, so I really did enjoy this one. And unfortunately, the book that I thought would potentially be my favorite ended up last, and that is Under a Howling Moon. And I thought this one was gonna be my favorite because Ollie is my favorite character, which now it's between him and Mo, because after the last book I have to say that I have so much love for Mo and I love him so much as a character because he's a typical nerd that never had friends. Can relate. So I think I'm between Ollie and Mo at the moment because of their personalities, but all 5 kids are fantastic. So this one I had to put last because I think I was the least invested, I think, with the mystery. Even though I really appreciated that they did something different with the werewolf story, I don't know, it's really hard to rate these books, to rank them, because depending on the mood and depending what you're looking for, all 4 of them are fantastic. But I think when I was reading them, this is the one that I was the least invested in. But it's like a teeny tiny less. It's not like a huge difference with the rest. So I can strongly recommend you guys to pick up these books. And actually, one of the prompts for Old School April, if you're participating this April, is to read a knockoff from Goosebumps. And I think these ones would work really well as a Goosebumps knockoff because obviously these books are targeted to that kind of audience. They have that kind of vibe. They're called Shiver Point, and I think this would be great for you guys if you're looking for books to add to your Old School April TBR. If I would have known, to be honest, I would have probably waited to read these ones for Old School April, but it was too late. I already had planned to read them in the month of March, and I'm really happy that I did. So with all that being said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this reading vlog. I have the feeling that in this reading vlog I have talked a lot about the books and I have not show you much around, but I have been really busy, so I hope that you still enjoyed the vlog. Thank you guys as always so much for all your support, and I'll see you as always in our next coffee time. Bye!